Hello, hello. Welcome back to Finding Spirit with Tabs. I'm your host, Tabs McCaffrey, and I'm a psychic medium here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. On this show, I share my own journey into evidential psychic mediumship, Akashic records, spirit guides, channeling, past life regressions, and truly everything and anything spiritually related. I do like to consider myself a pretty grounded and practical psychic medium, and I hope through these episodes that you find a grounded and practical approach to your own spirituality. All right, let's jump into today's episode. I'm really excited to talk about this because it has been coming up in my own practice with clients through QHHT sessions and past life regressions. And the topic for today is healing after loss through QHHT past life regression. And I now can speak on it from an accumulation of experiences and share my viewpoints and why I think that it can be beneficial to someone that is on a grief journey right now. Now, if you're here because you've lost someone that you loved, I want to start by saying, I see you. I understand. Losing someone and having them leave the physical world, it changes who we are. This episode isn't about pretending that grief doesn't exist. I need to state that. It's about understanding that grief and love walk together hand in hand. I want to also emphasize that QHHT isn't a replacement for grief. And I would say it's more of a tool to help you through your own grief journey. It can bring understanding that you didn't realize you were searching for, spiritual comfort in understanding life and past lives and soul contracts. And I like to consider it as a non conventional path that you may not have thought about yet. I also need to acknowledge that grief is sacred. It's not something that you just get over. It takes time and it looks different for each person. And that's something that I've had to learn through my own grief journeys. If you are newer to the podcast, I'll lay out kind of what's happened in the last few years in my life. We've lost two parents. We lost my mother-in-law first in 2021. I lost my mother in 2024, and we lost our family dog, Callie, of 17 years, this New Year's Eve. So I guess it would have been December 31st, 2024. We've seen a lot of loss. Oh, and my grandfather. Oh gosh, my grandfather in 2021. He was just a few months after my mother-in-law. We've seen a lot of grief in our lives in the last few years of people that were really close to us. And I've also been able to see how it shows up for different people in my life as each person, like I said, will grieve uniquely. I want to talk about why loss hurts so deeply and how I believe QHHT can help. When we love, we are energetically attached to someone. It's not just a physical attachment. There is an energy exchange, there is an energy attachment. And I believe love happens at the mind, body, soul level. It happens in all areas. When they pass, the physical part ends, but the energetic connection remains. Our love for them remains here on earth, even though they are not living in the physical world with us. And our heart knows that they exist somewhere, but they're no longer with us. And I will say, like, the mediumship puzzle piece really helped my own journey, helped me view life, helped me see that it is continuous and that they're always around us. But I know that not everyone has access to that. The hardest part about grief isn't their actual death, it's the disconnection that we feel for the months or years after, sometimes lifetime. The hardest part is not losing them, it's the feeling that's left behind after we have lost them. And because of this, the nervous system also experiences the loss. Grief lives in our body and not just within our mind. I recently had a QHHT client Within the regression, the subconscious higher self shared that they were storing grief in a body part within themselves and they were storing emotion there. And that was one of the reasons why they were having some physical issues. And it was very interesting to see that connection because I do experience that in different types of sessions, how we store emotions within our body. So it made sense. You still feel them around you. You know that they're there. They come to visit you in your dreams. You catch yourself wanting to speak to them. That's not denial. That's the evidence that love just doesn't stop existing, that it continues after death. And I believe through QHHT past life regressions, it can help you speak to that part that knows that truth and to hear it and to find the intricate details of your souls through the many lives that I'm going to say you've probably lived together. All right, before we move forward, I think I need to revisit what to expect in a QHHT session. In case you're new and you haven't watched my previous episodes talking about this, QHHT is a quantum healing hypnosis technique where you go into a deep, relaxed state. It's the theta brainwave, and that's where deep meditation happens. It's where mediumship happens. It's that brainwave state right before you fall asleep. And that's where we get access to your subconscious, your higher self, and all your soul's memories. Through this space, we can access past life memories, experiences from other incarnations. That's such a cool part of the journey. And we also speak to your higher self. And this is the wisest part of you. This is the eternal part of you that has had many lifetimes, many experiences, and understands everything from a totally different perspective than we do within this single lifetime. I feel like I need to clarify a few things of what QHHT is not. So, it is not the imagination. Clients often recall details they never consciously knew. They will bring up things that they're like, where did that come from? I didn't even know that. I didn't even know where that came from. Like, and they'll do the research after too. Like, it just doesn't make sense. The higher self speaks with clarity, calmness, and love. It is very supportive, and the conversation is always very healing. It's never shameful. It's never guilt ridden. It's never like, it will not give you negative emotions. It is there to support you through the journey. There's no fear, there's no judgment, there's only truth and compassion for you. I like to think of the higher self as the version of you that sees the whole map, that sees like the whole journey, not just the street you live on, but they see the entire country. Does that make sense? Like, they see the whole big perspective. That changes the conversation that we can have on the different topics, especially when you are going into losses and, deep losses within our life. Some of the areas that we can explore within a QHHT session around grief and loss can be soul contracts. Our soul often has contracts with other souls, and we agree prior to the lifetime to come in, have certain experiences, and these are all things that we will discuss before. Some soul contracts are there to support us, to awaken us, to challenge us, to protect us. There's so many different reasons we can have an agreement with another soul. And sometimes the soul comes in briefly and is there to make an impact in our life, even when their departure leaves the biggest hole. Okay, this can be major turning points within our lives, and it can work vice versa, us doing it to other people. Maybe you came into someone else's life and left an impact, and you were there for a short period of time, but that was what you decided before coming into the lifetime. Another topic that clients like to visit, especially in QHHT when dealing with grief and loss, is why did their loved one's life end? What was the reason for it? If you're not quite ready to hear this part, that's okay. I encourage you to skip forward a little, but I do think it's important to talk about this, especially for the people that are ready for this part in their journey. So the higher self will never blame. They'll never blame you, them, anyone else. They will just give the perspective of the death. Oftentimes, souls come in to complete certain parts, lessons, purpose within the lifetime. And when that is completed, they will leave this lifetime. They will go back to spirit and decide when to incarnate again. Some souls choose lifetimes that are shorter on purpose, and I know this can be hard to hear. Sometimes their departure reroutes our own lives in a very profound way, and that can be the purpose of their departure. This doesn't make grief any easier. It simply gives context to the death and the lifetime. And as I said before, you may not be ready to hear this, and that is okay. For those of you that are, this is another perspective that can be gained through a QHHT session. Now, moving on to a more fun topic that I think everyone likes to visit, it's the past lifetimes together. Does this relationship continue across many lifetimes? How many? How far back does it go? Do you always play the same role? Are you always mother child? Are you always husband wife or spouse? Are you always brother sister? What are the dynamics? And we can dive into those. Sometimes you are lovers in this lifetime, but you are siblings in another, and it's very interesting to see how our souls agree to have lifetimes together. What I have found through sessions is that oftentimes souls travel together, and I like to call these soul groups or soul families. And this is going to be a group of souls that choose to incarnate together. They plan their lessons together, their purpose. They keep each other in mind as characters. So they're always having lifetimes together, but they're kind of changing the dynamics, changing the lessons, changing the purposes. When do they come in? How do they leave? This is all predetermined before the lifetime. And you may feel like certain people within your life feel like home. It's often because you have had many lifetimes with them. Another fun one is, what is their purpose in your life? Why were they there? I find clients love discovering this. Were they there to teach you patience, love, compassion, self worth? Were they there to waken you up spiritually? When they left, did they open you up to spirit? Did you start to have communication with energy? Even if they didn't stay, why did they arrive when they arrived? And we can ask these types of questions. Another aspect that I like to dive in, and this is going to be in the higher self, is where are you storing emotions within your body? So, grief can crystallize in many different ways: heaviness in the chest, throat tightness, fatigue, insomnia, body aches, anxiety in the solar plexus, and pressure behind the heart. In QHHT, the body releases this emotional memory. I am asking the body and the mind to work together and to release these emotional, energetic blockages, or I guess dense energy that you may be holding on to. And the higher self oftentimes will show us where this grief is being stored within your body. So, any chance that I have within the session, I will ask the subconscious to heal, release, and let go any stored emotions that no longer serve your higher purpose. And we've talked about in the past how, emotions can turn into dense energy, and these can, being stored in your body can lead to illness or disease. So I'm going to pop a video up here on YouTube and drop one down in the show notes. It's just some info that I shared that came through in a spirit guide session about dense energy, emotions, and disease. And it's just an interesting listen, something to perhaps expand and give you some reflection within your own life. But yes, grief can be stored within our body, and it is important to release any of that stored energy, even if you are actively grieving. And then lastly, I think what QHHT can provide is the insight for continued connection. Souls do not leave. And we learn that through the past lives, and we learn that through learning about incarnations. They transition to the other side, but they're often around us all the time supporting us. And we can ask those questions. How is your loved one showing up in your life? How is your loved one still supporting you? How can you connect better to them? These are all really good questions to bring into the QHHT session. I find people often feel a sense of connection, healing, clarity, wholeness after these sessions, especially when we are focusing on areas of grief. Yeah, there's so many different ways that we can approach questions and the journey and the experience with the higher self to help you receive the information that keeps you awake at night, that runs in the back of your mind, that you're having a hard time letting go of, that you want to understand further. This is where we dive into QHHT. I want to share some of the experiences that my clients have had, and these will come sometimes within the session or after the session. It's very, very common for deep emotional releases. This will often show up in the session with tears, with emotion in the voice. You'll be able to hear it on the audio. And what you're doing is your body is just letting go of this stored emotion that you've been holding on to. Oftentimes, clients will be able to describe just the warmth that happens within their chest or in their hands. Sometimes they'll start the session and they're kind of chilly. They have the blanket up. And then by the end of the session, the blanket's down and they're like, I am cooking. I am hot, because their heart is opening up. Their energy is starting to flow again. Many times, clients feel this sense of reunion and peace. And they feel that. They feel the connection to their loved one. Sometimes they will have vivid memories or vivid memories of past lives that will come through with this person. It's very reflective. It's just such a I want to say magical opportunity to see how your lives have been intertwined previously, which also helps you understand and be hopeful for future lifetimes together. I think also it gives people an understanding that this soul, this person didn't abandon them. It gives them the perspective of the agreements that they may have coming to the lifetime and the understanding of their purpose and the lessons that were meant to happen. It really just gives that again that perspective to understand who, what, when, where, why, how, what just happened, why your life turned upside down, and what is that deeper meaning in it. And then oftentimes physically after, clients feel lighter, they feel like a weight has lifted off their chest. They feel like the sun is a little bit brighter, the mornings are a little bit easier, and they just feel like they're able to move forward within their grief journey. Let's move on to who this helps. Who are these types of QHHT sessions best suited for? Now, I think QHHT works for everyone, no matter where you're coming, no matter what you want to talk about. It meets you exactly where you are. But I think it's not necessarily discussed enough with grief and loss. So I want to share with you who I think would be best for these types of sessions where we dive into these soul contracts, causes of their death, why were they here, what was the purpose of them within your life, and maybe you fit into this. Maybe this is like, okay, I think I might be a good candidate for this. So people that have lost someone suddenly, good candidates. You're often left with a lot of unanswered questions. People who are feeling like they're stuck in grief loops. And that's where you just kind of keep going on the hamster wheel within it and you can't seem to get out. Again, this gives you a little bit of clarity and helps you start to find closure in some of those loops. People who feel guilt or that there's unfinished business. Again, it's going to be unanswered questions, not understanding their death or why it happened. People who want to understand soul bonds or soul contracts. I think that's like my favorite part when we dive into relationships is understanding the soul contracts that we have together. And people who are wanting peace, not necessarily to escape their grief, but they're trying to find peace within their grief journey. I think this is the perfect way to be able to walk hand in hand with your grief and the love that you hold for this person as well. It's not about forgetting. Like, I want to emphasize that these sessions are not about forgetting or letting go of the grief or, forgetting the love or letting go of the love that you hold for this person. You heal by remembering the truth. You heal by remembering connection. And even as my throat chakra is getting activated, guys, spirit's stepping in. You heal by understanding the lifetime that you currently lived and past ones. This helps you feel connected. This helps give the closure and the insight into the complexities of your soul and their soul. I hope that makes sense to you guys. How do I articulate this? And the only thing I can share is the experiences that I have personally witnessed through sessions, the transformations that I have seen in clients that are dealing with grief. I just felt like it was time to share this with more people in case you are one of those people that is like really stuck in your grief journey and wanting to heal and find happiness within your life and dealing with like the guilt that you're still here and they are not, guilt of feeling like you deserve to be happy. There's so many emotions that come with grief. And I think what these sessions provide is that balance for you to understand, but also be able to move forward. This is a heavy, heavy topic. I want to leave you guys with this. Grief changes us. It truly changes who we are, how we speak to others, and even how we help others that experience grief after us. But it doesn't change the love. It doesn't change the love that you have for the person. It doesn't change the love that you have to give to others. What I have found through QHHT is that many people discover the story with that soul isn't over. It's just changed its form. There is a continuation and a possible reunion in spirit after this lifetime. And it gives you that belief to understand that it's possible. So if you are grieving right now, I just want you to know you're allowed to be hurt, but you're also allowed to heal. And these things don't cancel each other out. Hurt and healing, they learn to walk hand in hand. As I speak to you guys, these are words that I need to hear in my own heart, that I need to let just kind of simmer in my own gut, I guess. But it's so true. Now, if this episode has brought peace to your heart, I'd love to hear from you. If you resonate with this, if this has maybe opened doors that you haven't thought of before, drop in the comments. I'd love to hear what you found helped within your grief journey as well. Even as I say that, listen to the voice going. If you feel called to explore QHHT as a tool within your grief journey, I'm here and ready to help. I do offer in-person or online sessions. I just want to emphasize, I love online sessions because you get to stay in the comfort and safety of your own home and you get to lay in your own bed. And I actually find it helps clients relax more deeply and allow the experience to unfold. So if you have hesitations about online sessions, I just want to put your mind at ease and say I don't want to say they're better, but I find clients definitely relax more when they are in the comfort of their own homes. All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to head out of here. I hope this episode resonates with you. I hope it helps you, maybe gives you some light if you are also in the depths of your own grief journey and understand that you are not alone. Everyone's journey is incredibly unique. Well, I am going to head out of here. If you're new, make sure to hit follow or subscribe, like the video. If it's on YouTube, drop a comment. Where are you from? Any experiences you want to share about your own grief journey? I'd love to hear. I'd love to support you. I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for walking this path in finding spirit. Bye.